Welcome to the Teaching Selective Course Resident Teacher Orientation Session. The orientation will cover the ABCs of Feinberg School of Medicine's new curriculum, the core competencies and how you fit into assessing them, a brief overview of the Teaching Selective course, orientation for giving effective feedback, and student assessments. Feinberg School of Medicine's core competencies. There are two things that I'd like to get out of this session pertaining to core competencies. One, I want you to understand the context and explain some vocabulary for the new curriculum. And two, I want you to know how to find additional information for the competencies and the curriculum. So here is a visual overview of the new curriculum. It has 3 phases instead of 4 years. There's 4 elements and several threads within the element that weave in and out of all learning opportunities. The elements are science and medicine, clinical medicine, professional development, and health and society. The phases and threads provide the framework or the structure for content to be delivered to the students. To find more information, go to Feinberg's education page, and you can access definitions on the elements, contact information for educational leaders, and so forth under the FSM education page, as seen here. The same, you can also drill down into the threads. And this is important just so you understand what the vocabulary, the context of how the expectations for the students. So seen here, it's a visual representation of Phase 1A and Phase 1B schedule, a student schedule. The phases are organized by organ system with the exception of the foundations module. The SAM acronym is Synthesis and Application Module. This is the fuchsia colored sections on the graph, and where you see these fuchsia colors, the students have an application, a synthesis and application week in which anything prior to any content prior to that scheduled week is fair game to apply. So if you hear students talking about their SAM weeks, it's their synthesis and application leading up to whatever content they've had to that point. Focused clinical experiences provide students with an opportunity to give context and relevance to classroom learning by introducing students to authentic clinical scenarios and settings. These experiences coincide with their organ-based module and provide early exposure to students so for them to explore career opportunities in certain fields. So within the clinical medicine element, the first and second year students go through a clinical skills course, and they're placed in either an IP, which is an independent preceptorship, or an ECMH, which is an education-centered medical home. The students, the alternative weeks in both groups are in the skills center learning their history and physical skills. Their alternative weeks, they're in either their IP or their ECMH. So if a student says they have an IP, they're placed in an outpatient clinic with 1 preceptor over the course of the 2 years. So the ECMH, 16 students are placed in 1 home, integrated from years 1 through 4 over the course of 4 years. About half of the students, 8, go to clinic 1 half day a week, and 8 go the other half day a week throughout their 4 years of training. The ECMH students are assigned a high-risk pool of patients that as their panel of patients that they track for the 4 years from their preceptor. They work on quality improvement and patient safety projects. They have a team educator during the week that helps them with evidence-based medicine in real time and teaches the team. And the senior students teach the junior students because they see patients in pairs. And they also have motivational interviewing that they do and outreach to their patient panel. I bring this up to you because you may encounter students either on your clerkships or in this course who use this vocabulary during your feedback session, and you may want to or witness it during the videos. So I'm sure that you've seen this patch on the student's coat. This is referred to as the competency compass here at Feinberg. The competency compass is similar to the ACGME core competencies, but we have some additional competencies such as community engagement and service, personal awareness and self-care, and the competencies are the goals of the medical school. So any learning experiences are associated back to a competency that is taught, assessed, and measured. For more information about specific competencies, you would go to the Augusta Webster Office of Medical Education's webpage, the education webpage, click on the Competency Compass star. You can drill down from here using the navigation bar to the left or clicking on the competency words on the star itself. And this is important because you may experience students who you need to give feedback to, and you can anchor your feedback back to the competencies by just looking it up. So for example, you're working, let's say, on night flow, and your M3 disappears every night at midnight, and you didn't understand why. Well, under professional development, there is a competency for accountability. And you can look up that competency and anchor all feedback back to that standard.